This is a James Poeartistry consultant moment.
Hello, perceptive readers. This is James Lynch, and today is Sunday. Here is a spiritual thought for you. I hope you will find value in it. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not you be calling anyone your father." See, do not be calling anyone your father. And what he was referencing was more of a honorary, where it actually goes beyond honorary. It's more into a title, even title above. You can see like our original fathers and mothers and things of that nature. And he didn't want such titles to be used, you see, in such a way, because remember, we all have one father, one God, one Father, in the sense of what the Spirit was, or what Jesus was talking about, as having that type of authority. You see what I'm saying? That ultimate type of authority, a life giver, per se. See, what I want to really reference in this, when he was talking about those types of titles and things of that nature. And granted, I know there are titles like that today. That's not what I want to focus on. What I want to focus on is how such titles are used. And when persons have them, remember, even those type of titles are not supposed to trump, you see, God's principal laws of love, or override God's laws, override his word. They're not supposed to do that. And also with that, do not be calling anyone, you see, your father or what have you. Because remember, in one case, if you listen to Paul, see, he talked about how he felt about the congregation, like he felt like he was a parent and things of that nature. Very good analogy when it's showing, guess what? The emotions, the feeling like a parent has for a child. You see what I'm saying? And yet, you see, the way that a lot of people take that, they take it to a different level, where I told you they actually take it to a level of dysfunction, because it's not used to really, tongue in cheek. Their actions portray something different, but it's not used in the same spirit of what Paul was talking about it in. They use it more, again, I told you, to actually beat you down, to take stuff away from you at times, to restrict you from some certain areas, all saying is because I am your mother or I am your father, spiritually. And yet they are not exercising it in the same spirit or way that Paul exercised it. You see what I'm saying? See, because one thing about even the Christian congregation, I told you, you notice the way Paul handled matters. He handled matters the way that even Jesus said handle them. And he was like, you be about settling matters quickly, you see, in this way or that way, and especially within the Christian congregation. And so when you do that, there's no long drawn out anything. See, in the ways that that I'm talking about. So I want to emphasize that, because, or I'm going to speak for myself, don't have to allow anyone, I told you again, in some type of authority, saying, I'm doing all of this because I'm your father. I'm your parent in this way, or what have you. And it's almost like, once you hit of an accountable age, able to actually get married and things of that other nature. No, all that type of child rearing, you see what I'm saying? And those types of forms of discipline and stuff like that, uh, the parent no longer has that type of authority over a grown adult. And yet you have people, I told you, that will go into certain positions and even other occupations at times where they get to the point where they forget or may not realize you're still dealing with a full grown adult woman and male. You see, no matter what their background happen to be, no matter what type of categories you're trying to, you see, place upon their personality or what have you, no, you still are not the parent in a sense, as like I told you, of the child rearing in years, excuse me, where the parents did a lot of things in the form of discipline, etc. That once that child moved out that house, such things are uncalled for, wouldn't be heard of, not supposed to be. You see, unless once again you're is being used in the way of what I call an abusive parent. See, and that's what happens from child abuse and things in it, which I won't go into, but that's what happens at times when parents don't know when to let go. And so they'll just keep trying to treat their even their own child past the age of 18 or 21 as if they literally has the right to use those same type of child rearing methods you see in the adulthood. And it's like it doesn't go beyond that. Why? Because God has already shown and designated where the limits are, even as parents. You see, you honor your parents, but I'm telling you what, parents still are not able to. If they want to pick up there and just hit you with a belt or what have you or something like that because they feel you're not listening to them or what have you, guess what? Then that would be considered assault. The same thing as something that maybe the parent didn't want the little child to have when they were younger. Maybe they found some toys or something that they said, no, I don't think you're ready for this or not or whatever. And they just took the toy out the child's room. Guess what? Once the child is now a grown adult, you see, man or woman, a parent, walk up in the person's house or apartment or whatever, then and take something. Guess what? That's stealing. That's still stealing, even though the child, you see, of that parent may just say, won't go to the extreme of calling cops and things of that nature. Well, that wouldn't even be considered. Well, maybe it would be, but see, the whole point is, at that age, when clearly they know that is something that the grown adult is giving to them, then to actually bogart or lord their authority over in that way without even a power of attorney, so to speak, that's stealing. You see, so I want to make that clear that there are limitations to even our all powerful authority in some of these positions as owners and executives, billionaires, trillionaires. We all have still a limited amount of authority when it comes before God's authority, his law of love. Remember, God is love, and the two greatest commandments entail love, you see. So that's the highest law. according to God. And then he also instructs through his word, his manual, if you will, what boundaries you don't cross. See, he placed those in there as well. And that's why sometimes when people are crossing these boundaries, thinking that they can do it because of their authority or because of their title they claim or what have you, God still said in his word, the Bible, no, this is what I told you. Now you're doing this and I'm not striking you down, but you're doing this against my will. Take care.